Hello, YouTube. This is the Troll King, Michael Foster. This is going to be a new type of interview or new type of video today. I'm doing an interview with my longtime friend and my coach, Cory Curtis. Um, Watching this back, I realized that a thing that I do, I guess I've noticed it a lot during my intros as well. I fidget a lot, and there's going to be, anytime you do these kinds of talks, over an internet connection, there's going to be little bits of latency or a little bit here and there. But I've watched through, and there's no points where it freezes or anything, or you really miss messages. But I think it's just a really good one. I hope you guys are really going to enjoy this because he's definitely the first one I wanted to talk to in terms of how do you do this at a successful level and have a life, a full time life of working and having a wife and having to provide and things like that. So I just wanted to give a little context there, and I just hope you guys really like it. I had a lot of fun doing this. Hopefully, me and Cory are going to be doing a lot of videos together on various topics. So if you see this and think it's good and want to hear more from us or anything specific you wanted to ask him or me or him through me, whichever, just comment and let me know. All right, bye, guys.
Oh, yep.
Nice.
I got it. Yes, Michael's recording the call.
Yeah, man. So what's up? How's it going?
Not too much, man. Chilling, just enjoying life, and glad the gym's back open.
Yeah,
been hitting heavier days, feeling a lot more sore.
Nice.
Since I'm back in there.
Yeah, it's still closed here, so I got my little 250 pounds of plates and my loadable dumbbells. I mean, for pressing days, I can really make it work because I can load up to 125s and add some bands. I mean, it's heavy. For leg day, it's got to use them blood flow restriction bands. It's about all I can try to.
Man. That sucks. Like, I thought I was doing good at home, honestly, because I got the whole setup in the garage. I got like an all-in-one piece. I can do chest flies, chest press, and a few other things. And I was hitting it, and I was feeling good, and I was happy about it. And then I came to the gym and started using the machines, and I was like, yep. I was like, no, it's just not the same, So I'm getting a completely different feeling. So I feel bad about it, but then I feel good about it too, because I usually go so hard that taking a break or doing a little switch up, even if I'm not as intense, I kind of earned it. So it might be good in the long run.
No, totally. And it's very, I don't want to say disingenuous. Like when this whole thing first kicked off, everybody thought it was going to be 3 weeks. And so the pros were all putting out their band workouts like, hey, this isn't going to be great, but it'll be like a Band-Aid. Then like 3.5 months later, it's like, yeah, these split squats with, monster minis, that's pretty cool and all. But
what else? I feel bad for you, man. I mean, what's the deal? I mean, what's the date that they say things are going to open back up?
Honestly, I don't even know. I've heard some people say that the fitness clubs and the stuff like that is going to be pushed off until like maybe mid-July. But it's honestly, leg day is kind of the only day. Like, especially because I rigged up that pulley that I made from all the stuff at Home Depot. So back days are pretty good. Because I realized most of what I do on back day is pull downs. Because I've always thought what I needed the most was the width. The thickness is kind of there, especially on my upper back. But I just needed that width. So that's been helping a lot. And then, I can load up the easy curl to about 242 or something. And then with a band, as long as I slow them down, like deadlifts hurt. So that's good. The legs, there's just, I can only really, technically I could load up the 150, their 125s on dumbbells, but because there's 25-pound plates, they just sit really uncomfortably far out to my side, so it's hard to squat holding them. And just to further prove I'm a bitch, like when I try and clean them up to my shoulders, if you ever seen the ones that they have like the long thin ones because you screw the ties onto them, those things just dig into my shoulders, like scrape the crap at them, like it shocked Beth. So at this point, I'm just.
What about the states next to you? Could you? How far is it a drive to like go to an adjacent state that might be open? Because I had to go to Georgia a couple times.
Yeah, I don't know. Wisconsin's pretty close. I honestly should look into it and see if their stuff is open. Actually, it's only about 30 minutes for me to get to one of the Snap Fitnesses in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's open, and y'all aren't in 30 minutes to an hour and a half even. I mean, try to get out there a couple days, man.
So we'll check that out. But anyways, so the whole thing that I try to do, I'm hoping I do a lot of stuff on YouTube, but one of the things I wanted to talk about initially is it just seems like all the pros we hear about, I'm the established pros, at least in the Open. You know more about the Classic and the other divisions than I do. I'm kind of a half-ass fan. I need to do a lot more homework. It's like we hear about them once they're already pros, once they've done it, and they talk about, a little like, yeah, I had to grind, I do this, this, and this. But it's like we never saw that grind. Nobody ever talked about what the grind was or how you had to do it or what the deal was. And you hear a lot of pros with the whole, I couldn't give myself a plan B. I had to just go for it. And it sounds super noble, super like, yeah, that's what you got to do. But obviously, I think you and I are on the same wavelength of, we have wives, we have lives that we work hard for outside of this that we didn't feel right about sacrificing for bodybuilding. So trying to do them at the same time, you're obviously kind of the success story thus far. I know, getting your pro card, really all it does is make your work harder because now you got to, try to succeed in an even larger playground, but that's still
on the bottom now.
You had to work real hard to get to the bottom of a higher level. But even just to get to that point. So I guess just for anybody who might not know you, how'd you get lifting? How'd you get into bodybuilding specifically?
As far as just getting into lifting, man, I did wrestling in high school, but I was like a band nerd. So high school, I played guitar and tuba and stuff like that. You're likely to find me, not on any kind of football field or trying to play any sports or anything. I'm listening to music, going to shows and concerts and stuff like that. And even in college, I didn't really do anything athletic too much, but I did take 2 weightlifting classes. So I was required to lift and, learn, the typical programming and some nutrition and stuff like that. Nothing, common, it was an elective stuff people typically already know already. But I guess I technically was in a gym then. But I guess when I was 24, 25, I'm 30 now. I guess when I was about 24, me and Brittany, my wife now, we moved to Charleston, and we were like 15 minutes away from the beach. And you can't, be 15 minutes away from the beach and at least not think about being in shape.
Yeah.
Because I was serving tables at Wild Wings and California Dreaming. So I'd have the entire day off until maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And, I'd go to the beach a few days a week and just stay in the shape. I went to Planet Fitness. That's all I had was Planet Fitness, and that's all I needed. I was good to go. And I just kind of got addicted to the results, man. So I just kept at it. I started actually taking it a little serious. I had a friend that would come with me, and he actually talked me into doing my first show. But we were going to do it together, and he, at the last second, pulled out on me.
That'll happen.
Even though I was the one hesitant about doing it. I didn't want to be on stage in my underwear. And I also don't like the idea of all eyes being on me, just in general. Like, I don't like birthday parties where, if it's my birthday, I don't like, celebrating my stuff, you know what I mean? Or I guess maybe it's an anxiety thing. But last thing I want is everybody looking at me, I'm kind of getting over that now, trying to, but yeah, that was a big thing. So he was going to do it with me, and I agreed because he was doing it. And then basically the last minute, he kind of pulled out. I had done all that dieting. I was doing it for Fit Your Macros. And I had the goal in mind for so long, I couldn't quit. I couldn't be a quitter. So I went through with it. I got first, actually, in physique. I got second. I got second in physique, and I got third in classic physique. And I looked okay. I looked great this was 2016. I looked great then. Mm-hmm. That physique wouldn't fly, nowadays. But for 2016, what was going on back then, I really killed it for my first show. And then I realized I needed a coach. So I could get to that next level. Reached out to Andrew Fryer, who actually coached the winner of that show. It was the Border Clash. And the winner was Kenny Owens. He won the New York he won third. He got third in New York Pro, I think, 2017 or 2018.
Oh,
wow. So so I looked up to him, looked at his physique, got with his coach. And Andrew's a good friend of mine now. We did really well placed. We got a couple first places. We did my first national show. Tried not to make this too long. It was 2017. I did nationals. I got first call out. That was eye-opening. I was hungry after that. Did USA's. I got sixth place. Then I used Lloyd Herford. I was about blanking on his last name. Lloyd Herford, Rise Performance. It was my coach after that, and he brought me into Junior USA's to get ready for that. And I wasn't planning on doing that show, but it was in South Carolina, and I'm in South Carolina, and it was in Charleston. So we had initially planned on doing North Americans, which is a few months down the line, and I kind of wanted some time off so I could keep growing. But I, like I said, long story short, I figured I might be trying to have a baby with the wife toward the end of the year. Junior USA's was at the beginning of the year. I figured I could focus on one thing and then have the freedom to do the other thing. So I tried to compartmentalize, said, hey, if I do get my pro card here, cool. If I don't get the card here, at least that's another, good way to get experience and get comfortable getting on stage. It's like I told you earlier, being comfortable on stage was an issue within itself. So that was another reason I figured I might as well do that. And it paid off, So I won first place on that.
So a couple things there, I guess something you touched on that people might not know. You talked about it wouldn't fly now. Just as to anyone listening to this that isn't a huge bodybuilding fan, it's classic division started in 2016. So it's been a steady, and each of the, 3 years, because 2020 Olympia didn't happen yet, but each of the 3 years, it's like they were looking for something different. Like they couldn't decide what they wanted their judging criteria to be. And I guess now they're kind of settling in. I mean, I don't want to say you're in luck, but it seems to be hopefully moving toward yours, like a little bit taller, a little bit, a better V, and then the flow. They keep talking about the flow. I never quite know.
Oh, you don't know about the flow, man?
I don't know what they quantify the flow.
Yeah, but, man, it's classic. I feel like the flow is like a certain aesthetic. You know it when you see it. It's like classic lines in a certain fashion. And, kind of the ways the classic guys did it. I feel like that if once you see the classic guys that have flow, you kind of know what the flow is. I feel like the open guys have flow nowadays. Some of the open guys, doing a lot better job, being a classic physique and classic routines too. So
I think the classic is creeping up. It's taking a lot of the eyes, taking a lot of the fans. So I think it finally, it's something that I never really thought the open guys deserved quite as much criticism as they got, because just from what you've done, you do what you think the judges are going to reward. You have a few of those competitors that are like, well, I just want to look my best, and I'm just going to bring, and okay, cool. But if that's not winning, and especially if you're open and you're trying to make a living at this, they had Dorian, then they had Ronnie, and then Jay. So people are like, okay.
Yeah, you're going after what the judges are looking for rather than what you're looking for yourself,
Right. So, yeah. But that's good to see that's coming around. So I met you, I think it was late 2016, or in the second half of 2016, I think, because that's when you came to work at the plant. And
yeah.
I don't know if you were on the same shift as me at first, or if we were just on a shift. I think we were doing that 5-shift thing, I think. So somehow we were able to work together, and we talked a good bit. I was competing in strongman at that point, but it seemed like we had a lot of the same kind of background. I was a nerd into, gaming and comics and music. I never played any of the sports when I was in high school, which I guess they thought was a waste because I'm pretty big boned. I've got a pretty big, just natural structure that I guess would have been, now where I am, I wish I had lifted some weights or done something, if I didn't want to play, just to put myself,
Me and you both, man.
started a little late, but yeah, I remember because you hadn't done border class yet, but you were talking about competing and just all that kind of stuff. I went to you initially in 2017 to just. I remember very vividly thinking I was not strong enough to justify how heavy I was, and I knew I didn't have a good. Like I was heavy and relatively strong, I guess, but it was beer and French fries, and I had just convinced myself that was the deal because I don't know I probably cherry picked some YouTube video that like, you just got to get in the
As
couch.
beer and French fries taste, you can convince yourself that that's the way to go. I can convince myself the same, man.
That was just I remember hearing myself say it's about leverages, it's about for pulling and all that kind of you got to offset that weight. And so I went to you initially because I wanted to just drop down a weight class. Since I was an amateur, I'm not making any money off this. It's like I'll drop like 275 and do that. And I remember because we were doing it with not a lot of cardio. It was going to be a slow burn. And I petered out, lost my discipline, lost my interest, and kind of effed off until I remember the beginning of 2018. It was January where, I started, because I initially started lifting weights in 2011 with my ex-wife. Not with her, but I was with her at the time, and I saw our wedding photos, and it was like a fat balloon coming out of my tuxedo. Like I was 275, but it was 275 pounds of chewed bubble gum. Like it was not good.
Yeah.
So I got to get in shape. I wasn't going to a beach, but it's like I can't be this fat. This isn't okay. And then when I got in, I realized I loved the training part. So I had no aspirations of competing until 2013 when I went to SC Barbell. That's when I met the guys that were doing power or strongman. So I got into that for about 6-7 years. But so I went back to you because it was the same deal. I saw pictures from Beth and I, our anniversary when we went to Asheville. I was looking chubby again, getting my little double chin, and I remember I was looking at those pictures and I was watching an Evan Centopani video because I just always watch these videos on nutrition, and I just messaged you like, hey man, let's do this. And so I know you talked about your professional, like your actual bodybuilding thing, but when I met you, the reason I think you're the perfect person to talk to about this angle is I know you remember you were juggling, like you had like 5 balls in the air juggling.
Yeah.
Like when I was working full time at a hard, shift work kind of job, days to nights, 12.5 hours. You were trying to do this bodybuilding thing at a top national level, and you were putting yourself through college, and you just been. So
nuclear engineering. It wasn't the easiest, man. But I guess I kind of always like it to be like that because even now, it's like I'm not in school anymore, but that's been replaced with clients, so I'm either just as busy, especially lately, so but I feel like, even since school it was like that, whether it was you have band and then when you get home, you have an ass load of calculus homework and then you have basically wake up and repeat. So being busy like that and juggling 5 things in the air almost makes it to where I have to have a set schedule. Like, days like today, I might have to have, I can switch things around, but every half hour to every hour of the day has a productive purpose. If I can take a nap, I can sleep, sneak a nap in on my days off, it's nice. But typically it's, I got, client emails for these 2 hours, got the gym for these 2 hours. I need to make some content for an hour. I need to, brainstorm. I need to be a, normal person. And I need to eat this time, eating 7 to 8 times a day. So, juggling a bunch of things, I'm kind of used to it. Doesn't make it any easier, I'll say, but I am used to it.
So it's officially shames me because if I ever want to talk about how hard my thing is, all I really have is my job and bodybuilding, and there's Beth, but we lead a pretty chill lifestyle. She's pretty low maintenance in that kind of regard. But as far as because I know as you just said, you got a big stable of athletes now. And I know, other than me, I know at least one of them is a cop. So I'm assuming he trades back and forth or does some days, does some nights, or at least has some complications to his schedule.
Cops, firemen, operators that work swing shift like we do. And the firemen, they work 24-hour shifts. So I got everybody that works all kinds of weird shifts. Some people in the military too, that are here and still working weird weird shifts, working civilian jobs, working weird shifts. I have nurses, they work, same 12-hour shifts. So, yeah.
So what are some specific, one of the things that you and I have talked about, and I'll take the guilt on my head, you don't have to do anything, but some of these, like the coaches of the pros, sometimes you wonder, did they inherit a good situation? Did it just so happen that a genetic freak wanted to work with them and they got to do some guinea pigs on it? Because no matter what you do with that guy, he's going to grow. But is there different challenges when you feel like you're dealing with what you deal with a lot of people with real life? They don't, this whole, you're supposed to get that 8 hours. Yeah, that's great, man. I can't get 8 hours. It's like, I either get 8 hours or I do this bodybuilding thing. Like, I can't do both.
I mean, it's like Arnold said, man. I mean, he had most people don't have time. You have to make time, You might have to run off a few hours of sleep, It's like, don't get me wrong, sleep's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that you need. But, so I got 10% battery, but I'll plug in again if you lose me. But yeah, man, you gotta pick and choose. Everybody's, I wish I had the luxury of sleeping 8 hours every night. Some people do, but the truth is most people do not. Whether they say, or the people that with regular jobs that just we don't have kids yet. You don't have kids yet, but that have kids, keeping them up, and they have to deal with that. It's another person or two or three that they have to take care of. And you're not going to have time, but you have to make time, So it's kind of one of those no excuses kind of things, man. I can't complain about having this job and trying to get, I got other clients, which is a second job, and then I want to have fun and I want to spend time with the wife. You just make it work. You find a way to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. From a coaching, I guess, slightly more technical standpoint, is there anything you have to make allowances for in different ways? Like, I know for me, when I take progress pictures and send them to you every Monday, and the days that I just happened to be off on that Monday, or I was off on the Sunday, or one way or the other, my progress pictures look pretty good because I was able to get to sleep, especially with this new schedule where I probably had a few days off at that time. So, and then there's the ones where I got to send you the progress pictures and it's at the tail end of 5 days on. I know I'm going to look like trash. My cortisol levels are through the roof. Is there like a filter you put things through where, like, if you get a picture from a client and they look a little bit like trash, so your first instinct would be, this diet's not working, we got to figure something out. But you need to know them and know, well, actually they're on night shift. They've been working this many nights. Like, they're only going to look so good. What are some filters that you put in place when you're looking at progress pictures of these kinds of clients?
Yeah, so I know, so everybody I talk to, so I have a decent amount of clients, but I don't have too many. I have the perfect amount, so everybody gets good attention. So I'm typically pretty familiar with what's going on. If I see them and, the questionnaire that they have to fill out every week is, it includes, tell me anything else that's going on this week, because I need to know things. And, everybody knows, hey, if you don't tell me what's going on, I'm going to start going down the list and asking you all these questions to kind of explain what's going on if it's not, what we expected. But just the initial questionnaire, I asked, what's your typical work schedule? People that have to work 12 hours a day have to make their diets to, some people only have 3 to 4 meals a day, depending on if they can't eat the entire time they're at work. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things. And you've had a diet to where it's like, hey, on work days, you have a certain eating schedule, and on non-work days, you have a certain eating plan. So if you're at work, maybe you have, no carbs. If you're off work, maybe you do have carbs. So that's another thing I have to take into consideration when dealing with people with weird schedules. But I kind of cater it to them. So, just because I know what it's like. If I'm working 12 hours, it's easy for me not to cheat because I can't go out and cheat anywhere. So I have, it's easier for me to have the cleaner foods. And then, especially my lifestyle clients, I have a lot of allowances with them, because they're not trying to do what we're trying to do.
Right.
So, I really cater to those guys, and they still make great results, which is, the key to sustainability. They can do it for a long time. So
I have noticed that, which is the opposite of what I thought it was going to be. And it sounds like you have seen it with all your clients, but work days, I'm a saint. It's just it's so easy to be regimented, especially with the kind of job that you and I have, where I can just eat every couple hours, and whatever I bring with me to work, that's all I can eat, because it's, that's just it. So it's super easy. And so the willpower doesn't kick in until I'm off, where I really have to. And oddly enough, maybe you can identify, it's not so much like when the willpower thing that I want to pig out and eat 3 pizzas and 2 sundaes. When I get lazy, I miss meals, because you just get tired. Not tired of eating the same thing. You just get tired of eating, I guess. On a regular thing. That's the biggest thing I have to fight with. Is that one of the things that you see as far as either personally or with clients, as far as like days off?
I mean, so today's a day off. I'm just a naturally not very hungry person. Like, trust me, I get hungry and I can pig out and I can, eat people under the table, but I'm not. But at the same time, on the same note, I can, if I wasn't a bodybuilder, if I wasn't doing these things and my metabolism wasn't like it is currently, I think naturally I'd probably be one of those people that wakes up, maybe eats breakfast, and then maybe eats a little more time in the day. So on the day off, I literally have to schedule my meals, because if not, I will probably forget to eat or not be thinking about it. And, I can't missing one meal. My coach, I'll feel like shit about it. And then he already rags me enough as it is. So, I have to make sure I eat, especially on days off, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest, it's not so much that I don't, I mean, me, I'm a fat boy at heart. It's just my biggest problem is portion control. Like if I mess around, if I don't have that exact amount of rice or that exact amount of beef and I just eat a ton, then I just binge myself and I'm not hungry for the next 3 days because I just ate too much. So the discipline of that definitely helps. So in your opinion, there's the sleeping side, and then there's the diet side, and then there's the training side of all of this. Where do you think each one stacks up in terms of how it's going to make you as a competitor or just a person in shape? Or
nutrition is everything, man. Nutrition is everything. You can't. I mean, sleep might be one of the best answers possibly on paper. Nutrition would have to come first on that, because the discipline to eat correctly is probably the toughest for most people. Training is very important, but I don't put it first because of this. Everybody that's at the top 10 on the Olympia stage, whether you're classic, whether you're figure fitness, or open competitor, all those guys train differently, and they're all the best in the world. They don't train, none of those, then they're not training together. None of those guys are training together. None of those guys are doing anything specific or special that makes them better than the other guy, but they're all training. So yeah, you have to train, and yeah, the intensity has to be through the roof. But the nutrition is the way you recover from the training. The nutrition is what actually builds the muscle. Because if you're doing all that training and you're not feeding the body, then then what you're doing is breaking down the body and not giving it any raw materials to grow. So, but training is I would say training is important, and then sleep, of course, is important. But it's not like everybody has the luxury to prioritize it. So I can't put that one as number one. So. But I do recommend, people that can't get sleep, or can't get, the ideal, hey, I get to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, and then 8 hours later, I get to wake up completely refreshed. 8 to 10 hours later, you just kind of do what you can, man. I recommend naps, if you can sneak in naps, even resting your eyes, meditation, or sitting down and doing nothing. If you can kind of cut your body off where you can't necessarily be asleep, but you're at least sitting down and relaxing, something. Right. If you ever have a chance to, if you're not on go all the time.
So one thing, something I've kind of theorized, I know you've dealt with a lot of the same stuff in terms of, yeah, that'll happen.
You got
Co-workers, Well, some of them will talk about the food. How can you eat the same thing all the time? Or I can't cook for myself because I don't know what to cook. But one thing I seem to get a lot is what motivates you to go to the gym? Which is why I asked about the training part specifically. And I don't know how you feel on the topic, but for me personally, if you're a competitor, you should never have to ask me that question, because of all the things that I have to do to try to be the substandard bodybuilder that I am. Training is the only part that's fun. Like, with all the crap that you're forcing yourself to do that isn't fun, if you can't find a way to love your training, bud, you need to find something else. Like, this is not the sport for you.
Then what are you doing?
Yeah. You need to motivate me to stay in bed and not get 4 hours of sleep and get up and train just because I get excited. I want to get up and I want to train and I want to push and just feel that feeling. So what do you tell people, I guess, do you have clients that couldn't make it in today?
If you ask about motivation, I won't give you a good answer at all. I'll tell you, you don't need it. I'll say you don't need motivation, you need discipline. Motivation is not required for this. Nobody said that you needed motivation to get in shape. It doesn't really make sense, but it's like, hey, all this motivation talk, just get it done. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I don't want to motivate you. If you're not motivated to do it, then like you said, do something else. That's, we can still be friends and it's all good and life goes on. And there's plenty of wonderful, beautiful hobbies in the world. So if you're not motivated to get in the gym, then don't. I say leave it to people that are. Or if you're not motivated, like I'd say I'm 50-50, man. But I would say it might be because of the workload I have outside of everything else going on. So that can take the motivation. Like, oh, I really got to hit the gym now after the 12-hour shift and doing an hour worth of client work, and I had to run to the store, and then I had to do 2 other errands, and now I finally have to go to the gym and do an hour of stairs. Am I motivated to do that hour of stairs after all that? No. Yeah. But sure, I'm motivated to have a nice chest day after being a few days off, or a nice leg day because you got 2 people joining you and you guys are about to kill it. You're excited, you're motivated. But the typical day, whether it's before or after work, or just living the lifestyle, or especially in prep when you got low calories and it's getting close to game time, the motivation is the show, of course, but the discipline is what carries you. So if somebody were to ask me about the motivation, I kind of just give them a smart ass answer, hey, I got nothing for you. But if you were to ask what I look at for motivation, is just my clients. Everybody's killing it. I try to make it a team to where everybody can't slack. Or even if I am feeling slack, I'm not gonna let everybody notice. But if I am feeling slack, I can scroll through Instagram and see 1 or 2 people carrying the baton on my behalf. I can't be slack if my people are killing it, man. So I'm always killing it, you know what I mean? Because everybody else is always killing it, or at least somebody, if you create a good enough environment to where you got people pushing you, good training partners, good team, good support, then, that's awesome.
It's been big for me I know you and I have talked about it over probably the last year. Like, as your client list grows, there's times where, because I just circumstantially, for some reason, I've just always, for the most part, trained by myself. I just never had training partners. Times didn't work out. I know for 2018, I think, or maybe 2017, there was a good amount of time where you and I were on the same shift, and I feel like we were on a pretty regular thing of going to the gym together. And then it would be like a once, twice a week, once every couple of weeks thing. But I'd say the bulk of the time I've trained alone. But with the Team Cobra Core just growing, I'll look through the people's stories and man, I'm training like a bitch. Like I could have gotten that last rep. I could have gotten that last rep.
I feel like we all try to outdo each other, and even the girls, man. I mean, all the girls are working out together, pushing each other, or sending each other things, and some of them they're monsters, especially as far as leg training and just being pure grit. Yeah. So, a few of them, trying to, it's like, almost like initiation, just to make sure they're doing the right thing. And it's like, we're burying each other. So, everybody's got heart, and if you don't, we try to instill some into you, if you're local, and if you're an online person, at least try to touch base and install those mental cues, whether it's on a phone call or something. And you have to tell them, hey, when you're in the gym, for us to make the progress that we want to make, you're going to have to put your body in the position to where it has to be, it's forced to grow, where you have to send that fight or flight response to your muscles that says, I cannot survive unless I change, unless I get bigger, unless I get stronger, or else I will get hit again. You have to feed that signal to your body. And I kind of enforce that and instill that to everybody's mind. So when they're in the gym, they're not just going through the motions, they're actually trying to push to a different level.
So we've been on for about 35 minutes, so I won't keep you too much longer. Just the last little bit I was going to ask you about. So essentially, I competed September 2018, and we saw that because of the years of bad dieting in strongman, I kind of made things slightly harder on myself in bodybuilding because I had a little lower, I had the lower ab fat, had the lower back and a little glutes that are just, there really wasn't much to do. You could, other than surgical, which I didn't want to do at the time. So we just kind of took our foot off the gas, stayed lean for now going on a couple years before stepping back in. And so it was around January of this year that I was like, I remember I got in touch, let's put the foot on the gas. Like I feel like I'm staying pretty lean. Like let's do something. And then I found out my wife was pregnant. So just from what you've seen in your clients, and I don't know each specific one's competition goals, do you think this is something that I can get to my best version of myself and do this child raising?
Yeah, man. I feel like it doesn't hold anybody back, man. You've seen the last few Olympia winners, like Brandon Curry's got 3 kids. Sean had his daughter up on stage, one. Right, Flex Lewis, doesn't he have a daughter or a couple kids? The best in the world have kids, so of course you can, man. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all, and I haven't seen it. It's only an issue if for people that want to make it excuses. If you want to, people that make excuses about having kids and not being able to do things are the same people that make excuses about, it's raining outside, so I don't go to the gym. It's the same crowd. It's the same mentality. So if you want to do it while you're having kids, you can do it. Yeah, sure. It's the same thing. It's just one more thing to juggle.
Mm-hmm. Well, killer, dude. That was pretty good. Is what I was looking for there. Is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug? It's Cobra Core Coaching. One word. I think.
Yeah, it's cobracore.com is the website. But you can hit me up on Instagram at Cory Chris. Yeah, if you want to put my info down, just hit me up on Instagram, DM me, or check out the website cobracore.com. And have me on again, man. We'll talk about some more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you want. I mean, we can make it a regular thing.
I'm putting up YouTube videos. I'm putting up 2 today, I think. I recorded a mini grocery haul, and I recorded a 3 sets of shoulders just to get on there. Just because for the fact that I said I'm gonna start and I haven't. It's not polished or anything, but I'm uploading content. It's happening. So Cory Curtis on YouTube, I'll be putting stuff on.
Doing it on my phone and then doing this on Skype. It's pretty grassroots.
Yeah, it'll evolve, man, like everything, So, I think, the videos that you got out now, you seem to be pumping them out. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't want to get to a point where I'm just releasing every workout, and especially because there's certain ones like I go for a lot of, I follow a hypertrophy coach for a lot of stuff, and I go to his app. That's kind of a weird gray area. Like I was doing my own workouts for a while, but now I'm kind of doing a little more of his, and that's a paid app site. So it's not like I can just record my workouts and put them out because that's, something I paid to get. That just seems like it'd be a little shady. But there's a lot of
people want to watch you do it, as long as you just give them a shout out, say, hey, I got this from hypertrophy coach, and then hit the workout. It's all love, man. I know guys like that are like me and you, man. We want we want to spread the love. It's all good, I'm sure there's no issue there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did a chest, and I've been following a weird split ever since I looked at that Luke and that James Hollingshead one, because I had never thought of it. Yeah, rest in peace for sure. But doing like a muscle group and then just like a part of a muscle, like my chest day now is chest and side delts, because I figured, I looked at it and it keyed me in that my shoulders and my triceps are one of the parts of my physique that I think are pretty strong. I don't need to prioritize them right now. They're not what's the weakest. So I don't need a whole day just for my shoulders. Like I can split them with everything else and work on things that need it a little more. So, but it's been going pretty good. All right, man. Well, you got 2 YouTube videos coming out. I'm gonna be checking those out. We'll just start competing, I guess. But you can get me on your channel. We can do some interviews.
Yeah, man. I'll get you on. I'll get you on there next week or something.
That's how we do it. But all right, man. I gotta go train.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, bro. Take it easy, man.
You too.
Peace.
Bye.